Thanks for tuning into the market wrap. I'm Niraj Shah and with Nickey Mirchandani, and it's turned out to be an exciting day of trade if you are a banking investor. Maybe not so much if you are invested in some of the others, including Reliance. But having said that, I must admit that the lack of volatility, in a manner of speaking, ahead of the big event has taken a lot of people by surprise. We'll get to that in a bit. First, the indices and how they fared today. In fact, the headline numbers were probably a lot better as compared to yesterday. Yesterday, too, the Bank Nifty had roared, but Reliance had sunk, and therefore it was a flat day. Today, that was not the case. Banks did very well, and Reliance didn't do all that poorly, just about 1.5%, as a result of which I think the Nifty has returned about 1.3%. But look at that. I mean, ICICI Bank 6.5%, SBI doing very well, HDFC from the financial space, IndusInd Bank another 3%, and then you had some other pepperings, Hindalco, for example, or Sun Pharma on results up about 4.5% immediately post results. So all of those did reasonably okay. UPL sulked, trying to figure out what the reasons were. Could it have to do with auditor or results or something more? Presumably results. NTPC sulked because of the results again, and not surprised there. And IT continues to languish a little bit in trade. But Nicky Johnson and Nicky, a bunch of large caps moved. Which one stood out as the stock of the day?
Good afternoon, Niraj. I'm going to start off with HDFC, another quarter of steady performance coming in from the counter, and back at that, CLSA is actually, while they've maintained the outperform rating for the counter, they've gone ahead and raised the target price to 2,300 from 2,100. Few of the highlights from the results were the strong NII performance, meaningful recovery in disbursements, and the retail collections, which have jumped by as much as 96.3%. So that's overall a positive coming in from HDFC overall. If they expect a core ROE to be around 12% by the financial year 23, which in term is a solid number that we're looking at. On back of that, you're seeing the strong performance coming in. But I'm going to quickly come back to you, Niraj, and ask you about the mid-cap space and how do you now see the real estate stocks doing, especially after the results have come out?
Yeah, I mean, I think Godrej Properties today sunk, and naturally so, because compared to the others, I think maybe it's not done as well. But we'll talk about it. First, the headline numbers and how they've on the indices and how they've looked. So the MOV chart will come up on your screen, and that will show you that there were some pain points within real estate in the session today, as you can see there, Godrej Properties. But before that, just a quick snapshot, the up and down numbers that you see on your screen. Essentially 302 advancing to 195 declining, which shows that the market did well today with positive breadth. Again, auto financing, auto ancillaries, all of them did well. Sundaram Finance, Jamna Auto, some very good moves in the session today. Kadila Healthcare post numbers are very strong, 6% uptick. Naveen Fluorine was probably a lone ranger when it comes to the specialty chemical space. Some of the others sulked in trade. What didn't do well, Godrej Properties, Fine Organics, Specialty Chemicals, post results down about 4.5%. Muthoot Finance, 4% down on the day of the results, and some of the others too correcting a bit. So there were some pain points, but you have to admit that the breadth was reasonably positive and stood out, quite unlike what was the case in trade yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I would specifically want to talk about a few of these names which did exceedingly well in trade. I mean, the highlight, of course, is going to be the Kadila Healthcare and the way that it's moved. Solid set of numbers coming in from that counter. EBITDA was up as much as 35% in your basis on consolidated level. The number of more than 860 odd crore, and what the street was estimating was a figure of around 760 crores. On back of that, some update. Ramco Cements did exceedingly well in trade today. It hit a 10-month high. That was one counter which actually was upgraded from CLSA from sell to an underperform rating. So that's an upgrade coming in. The target price was high. Overall, the profitability, at this point of time, they said that, is expected to go higher with the kind of scenario that we're sitting in. Niraj, we know that how cement stocks have done typically well in this quarter, despite it being a weak quarter. We have seen that performance coming in. Apart from that, the third stock, which is really, I wanted to talk about it, is Godrej Properties. It looks like a pump and a dump strategy which is coming in for all the real estate names, specifically for Godrej Properties. 2 days back, you saw a 20-25% kind of uptake. The moment results were out, you've seen that sharp correction coming in. Revenue up by 66%, net profitability took a hit of 78%, and the company reported an EBITDA loss of 71 crore as compared to a profit figure of nearly 25 crore in the corresponding quarter. Clearly disappointment and the COVID impact creeping into the quarter and taking a toll on the bottom line as well as the operational level performance of the company. But Neeraj, anything specifically that you're watching out, specifically with the US, elections and the results now underway? Your view on that.
Yeah, I mean, who's smart enough to give a view on that one? But yeah, Nicky, pertinent point, simply because this time around tomorrow, maybe, just maybe, we would have known what the outcome is going to be like. So that is part one. You have to bear in mind, I think, 2 or 3 things. Depending on which way it comes out, we've been telling, and the surprising thing or the good part is that the equity markets, as I said, are taking the day ahead of the results, are kind of doing well. It's not just our markets. Europe is very, very green. Nasdaq futures are up about 1% and a quarter, or near about 1% actually. So the US market itself, after rising yesterday, is also doing okay for itself. So we're actually having a pretty decent outing thus far for markets. Okay, yeah, that must be the futures market too, and that is trading well. These were, of course, yesterday's rates, but yeah, for the US that is. But European futures too are doing rather well for themselves. So net, the market doesn't seem to be too nervous going into this. As we've stated on trade setup every single day, if it's a decisive victory for either party, whether it's a status quo or whether the Democrats take away all the thing, the immediate reactions could well be positive. But never know. The only thing that I'll say, Nicky, is that tomorrow, throughout the trade, we'll have experts coming in and talking about their opinion on what they make of the result from an equity market perspective. So maybe, just maybe, people could tune in on or log onto our Twitter handle and try and follow it and try and see what these experts have to say. We'll do nuanced conversations and try and get you the best of opinion. But yeah, on that note, from Nicky and myself and the team that put this piece together, thank you so much for joining us on the Market Wrap. And yep, watch out for the big day tomorrow. As we've stated, it's the most important election verdict after India's own elections. So we'll be prepared for that.